If you're sober, this video is for you. If you're thinking about becoming sober or interested in what that looks like, giving up some type of vice or monkey on your back, this video is for you. If you just came across this video and you've made it the 20 seconds in and you're interested, this video is also for you. This video is for anyone that cares to listen. I wanted to give a little bit of insight on my current state of sobriety and existence. My life is incredible in so many ways, and it is very hard and taxing in many ways as well. I've been sober for 4 years. Tomorrow will be the first week of that 4 years, and it's kind of incredible to reflect upon. It's incredible because before I stopped drinking and partying, using drugs, I never saw a life without alcohol. I could kind of see a life without drugs at some point, I wasn't naive. I was like, at some point you give that shit up. But like alcohol, I had toyed with the idea. I had tried moderation a handful of times. I had tried stopping to then be able to healthily revisit alcohol. And every time I failed miserably. Every time was almost worse than the previous because I had gone an extended period of time, 30 plus days, and then started drinking again and told myself I would do it in a regimented, moderated, responsible way. And I might have done that for like one night, but then the second night it was like I never quit drinking. So I was having 20, 22, 23, 24 drinks in a period of 6, 8, 10 hours and waking up feeling awful while I was drinking, starting to black out a lot more, which I didn't regularly do through all the years of binge drinking. So it felt very low, and I wanted to change that. And I was fortunate enough to, after one of these binges, wake up one morning and just have the information downloaded. Like, it was like a core pillar of mine that I had decided on almost, but like there was really no decision on my end. It was just acceptance. Like, I opened my eyes, I saw a light on the ceiling. I estimated it was around 10 o'clock. I was like, fuck, slept in, feel like garbage, wasted a beautiful morning. Got out of bed, my feet hit the ground, and I walked into my kitchen. And as soon as I walked through the threshold of my bedroom into my kitchen, it was like this feeling took over me, and I knew I was done. It was like this message of like, you're good. You don't do this anymore. And it wasn't, you don't need to do this. It wasn't, you can do this. It was, you don't do this anymore. Like, that simple. So in a lot of ways, while I had this like longer term period of years where I was kind of struggling with figuring out how to manage my alcohol use and really, really feeling it emotionally and mentally. My relationship at that point suffered. Whether family and friends really knew it or not, I think my ability to be there for them and support them in the ways that I see fit also suffered greatly. And it was done. And like, I knew it was done. It was the craziest thing ever because all these other times I had tried to stop or moderate, I didn't have like a date. I wasn't like 30 days and then I'm going to go back to it. I just knew there was going to be a period where I revisited drinking, partying, and trying to like figure out a healthier, more realistic balance in my life. And this time I knew, like, I just knew. It was crazy. One of the most calming but intense experiences of my life because I kind of had imposter syndrome in a lot of ways. After that long doing something and toying with the idea of quitting and telling yourself like there's no way I could ever fully remove this from my life, and then having something so true inside of you letting you know that that's the reality, you're done with this, you can move on, it's okay, you're safe, like this is the right thing, this will be the right thing for you. tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 20 years from now. That was an overwhelming feeling, but it was also so calming because I had all the clarity I needed. All this back and forth I had done months, years prior, this shifting in my brain of, all this rationalization of how I could incorporate this chemical addiction into my life in some way, shape, or form, instead of just acknowledging the best thing to do would be give it up. Like that all went away, and I just had this clear answer. So I feel very fortunate to have hit 4 years this past week. 1,000 days was probably like one of the most surreal moments for me when I checked my app and it was a couple days away, and then I checked and it was like 1,000 days. That just felt very monumental. 1,000 days is a lot, right? Like do anything for 1,000 days. Speak a new language or try to learn a new language for 1,000 days. Paint a picture every day for 1,000 days. Read a book every day for 1,000 days. Exercise every day for 1,000 days. Like anything you do for 1,000 days, by the time you're done, really crafts you and shapes you in some way. I think if you do something for 1,000 days and you don't feel crafted or molded by that action, then you haven't been doing it wholeheartedly. You've been doing it very passively. And I had to be very active in my sobriety. I had to be my biggest champion, my biggest fan. A lot of my friends, people that I love, my partner at the time, couldn't really wrap their head around it when we would have the conversation. And I would say, I'm done. The follow-up question more often than not was, for how long? Or how long are you going? When are you drinking again? And I felt almost sometimes like I had to lie. I would just kind of be like, oh, like there is no end date, but like maybe way, way down the road, because like it was so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like again, felt a lot of imposter syndrome being so new to this journey, but knowing in my heart of hearts that I was done, wanting to be done so bad, and being given that chance where like I woke up with this message and this information downloaded, and I was like, dude, you can't give this up. Like this feeling, like not everyone that struggles with addiction gets this feeling. Some people hit rock bottom. They have like a moment, a situation that they consider their rock bottom, and they still don't walk away from that with this message of like, I've been given an opportunity to give this up and better my life. And I was given that, and I certainly wasn't gonna walk away from it or let it go unacknowledged. But I never really had a rock bottom. I had like a lot of peaks and valleys, and a lot of those low moments added up to the sum that was my rock bottom. And I was unhappy with how I looked. I was unhappy with how I felt, 90% of the time, if not physically from the drinking, mentally, like very washed out. I had what felt like a pretty good grasp of my emotions, but was incredibly poor. I was not being the best person I could be by any means in my relationship at that time. I wasn't being an active listener. I wasn't being productive in times of trial. And on top of all that, I just wasn't showing up for myself. I was hurting myself physically and mentally 5-6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. Just really not honoring this gift that I was given: life, a healthy life, a healthy body. So many people are born with some type of health related issue that they have to take medication for. They have to see doctors for regularly. They might need surgeries, multiple surgeries through their life. They might not really know what that diagnosis looks like long term. So they're constantly on edge, trying to be safe and hopeful, but also be realistic that at any moment their health could change. And I didn't have any of those things. I was doing it to myself. I was causing this damage to myself, choosing to, spending money in doing so, like no net positives, other than going through all those trials, experiencing all of this sadness and negativity in dark, dark, dark periods, to then come out on the other end and have this incredible appreciation for the light and the brightness that exists in life with simplicity. For me, it's not really about expensive things, lavish things, flashy things. It is simply about the simple things, the little things in life that we take for granted. And, I wasn't going on walks like to blow off steam, or if I had a long day at work or a long week. Like, I didn't find joy in going on a walk. I wouldn't go on a walk with my friends to go on a little hike or what. Like, I'd come up with excuses. I loved the sun and being outside, but like, I'd rather just sit there, lay there, drink a beer at the park. Like, as soon as I became sober, I found joy in getting home after a long workday, taking off my shoes, going for a barefoot walk in the park. There was no time allocated for it. There was no start and finish. It was just, this is what I'm doing. And I enjoyed every second of it. I looked forward to it. I could find such joy in the simple things in life for the first time. And I think that was one of the first things that really opened my eyes to just how shadowed out my true self, the soul and the brain that I was born with, had become from all of this partying and drinking. And, after that, my emotions started working themselves out. Like, I had to be conscious of focusing and putting time into relearning how I felt, how I reacted, how I acted, how I spoke to others, how I perceived others, how I perceived myself. These were all things that were clouded greatly by my regular chemical indulgences. And that was a very tough thing to do, because it takes a lot of acknowledging your shortcomings, right? Like, when your brain is starting to rewire, your reactions and actions are starting to kind of shift and shape, and you're able to reflect a little bit more truly on them. There's a lot of negative emotions and sadness that come up, like a lot of time to reflect and go, wow, I have not been the best version of myself for others or to myself. And that makes me feel awful. And I think instead of moving past that and just kind of disregarding it, you can sulk in that for a little bit. That's kind of healthy to bask in that and really understand how that makes you feel, and know the things that you don't want to be and you don't want to do moving forward in your life. So it's a little synopsis of what I've experienced early on in my 4 years of giving up partying, drinking, drugs. But I want to tap back into this and kind of go over some things that I've experienced in more recent years, with my focus and shift of energy being primarily on fitness, weightlifting, health and nutrition, and as of this past year, running. And I know that those are very common things that people tend to take up and put their energy into when they find or are trying to find sobriety. But mine kind of came in a unique way, I guess. And if I could spread my message, spread my story, and affect one more person than I already have, there's been a handful, not really via my videos or anything, but in life, in day-to-day interactions, friends, acquaintances, people that I've met through work. They've come back to me and been like, hey man, I'm 8 months. I'm 8 months alcohol free. I'm 8 months drug free. And you're one of the biggest reasons why. influence just from having genuine conversations, giving them my anecdotal story and information. Um, and that means the world. Like saying those things, knowing that it has changed people's ability to approach that type of decision gives me goosebumps every time because I had people like that. I didn't have a ton speaking directly to me, but I was influenced by all types of people: musicians, pro snowboarders, skateboarders, um, athletes of all types, just generally successful people that at some point in their life gave up alcohol or never really found much of an interest in it and decided to never even dabble. Like they're not like a one drink here and there type of person. They just don't drink because they early on in their life realized it was something that was not suiting them. Um, if I could be that person for one more person from making videos like this, that's good enough for me. I would like to affect a lot more people than that. I would like to inspire a lot more people than that. But if it's just one person, then taking the time to make these videos is all worth it because life is tough and we need the help. And sometimes it comes from unexpected places. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Follow along. There's going to be long form content coming on YouTube more regularly. And periodically, I'll have some videos kind of diving more into my story, my background, my current life. And if you find that of interest, I appreciate it. And if not, I still appreciate you. Have a great day.